We're not like y'all. Well, we are like y'all now. Y'all used to get great wide receivers. I don't know what happened. Now y'all got a wide receiver room full of people that nobody can name. I know you can name them, and the people in your chat can name them, but I just mean your average. There's no Sammy Watkins in there, is what I'm saying. Like you go to Iowa and ask somebody to name the Clemson wide receiver, they don't know who they are. That's how it is. That's always been that way at Georgia.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been rough for Clemson. I mean, really, the past 3 seasons. I mean, it seems like we can't get a healthy wide receiver room to save our life. I mean, even the guys that, as you mentioned, nobody knows their name. They can't stay healthy. They can't stay on the field. So, really, this off season has been the best for Clemson as far as, especially at that wide receiver room that you mentioned, and a lot of the hype, I guess, coming into the season is surrounded on those 2 big freshmen that we brought in, TJ Moore and Brian Wesco. And then I think, from there, you're looking at Antonio Williams and Tyler Brown, the 2 freshmen that led the, team in receiving yards their freshman seasons. But,
yeah,
again, I get it. We don't have a room full of, Sammy Watkins and Martavis Bryant and, T. Higgins and Justin Ross and all of that anymore. So, that's definitely been a change for Clemson. But hopefully we can get it turned around this season as far as becoming more explosive, because I think a stat that I found interesting that I ran across this week was Cade Klubnik was dead last in FBS quarterbacks when it came to passes greater than 20 yards last season.
Yeah.
And that shows that, and really what we did is we just gave up on pushing the ball down the field. There was no confidence in the receivers. There was no confidence in the offensive line blocking long enough, and there certainly wasn't any confidence in Cade Klubnik, making the reads or getting the ball to whoever was open. And that turned into no separation, no good pass blocking, and a lot of poor decisions by Cade. So it was frustrating to watch.
Yeah, I can't name off all the Clemson stats like I'm sure you can, but I watched a lot of Clemson games last year, and it's really crazy to me how much their offense has regressed since, like the coach around 2020 or whatever. It sounds weird to say, but y'all are almost, I can't believe I'm about to say this. Y'all might be a wider version than Iowa. Think about that for a second. Wow.
Oh, no.
A wider version of Iowa. Wow. Dang. Big dang. What happened? Did Dabo have any kids left that he can put out there, or what's going on with that? How many kids does he have on the team this year?
I think just one left.
One this year, and one assistant coach son too now, I hear.
Yes. Yeah.
Good. Not his brother, though.
No.
Just his kids.
No, definitely not that. But yeah, as a Clemson fan, it has been infuriating and mind-boggling to watch the decline of Clemson offense over the past 3 seasons.
Yeah, it's been weird.
Everything for Clemson's offense over the past 3 seasons has looked difficult, has looked hard. And you can point to, we had Trevor Lawrence, and we had Deshaun Watson, and there's none of those dudes walking through the door, and I get that, but I think there was a period of time, and we've talked about it on here, where I think Dabo hired coaches that weren't ready, and he gave people opportunities that hadn't earned those opportunities yet, and it clearly affected Clemson. And obviously he started to somewhat correct that with bringing on Garrett Riley, bringing on, guys like Matt Luke and Chris Rump from the NFL, and trying to fill those holes. And, I'm glad he didn't let Brandon Streeter sit there and have 2 or 3 years of just an inept offense.
Right.
I'm glad he fired him after the first season and brought in Garrett Riley. But even last year with Garrett Riley, the offense didn't look ready. And if you look at the first part of the season, Garrett Riley was kind of running his style of stuff where, he likes to pull offensive linemen and get them out in space and all that kind of stuff. And Clemson's O-line I don't know if the coach couldn't teach it or they couldn't perform it. But if you saw, the back half of the season where we went on that 5-game winning streak, starting with Notre Dame, we went back to the zone blocking scheme and the stuff that Clemson's done for a long time. And Garrett Riley kind of, I don't know if you call it dumbed down his offense, but kind of stripped a lot of that stuff down just to get through the season. And, as a Clemson fan, you got to hope that, heading into this season, we're past that. And, we get to see something a little closer to Garrett Riley's offense that we expected to see. And I think there's no bigger hire than Dabo made this offseason than bringing on Matt Luke, because I think he's going to definitely have a big effect on that offensive line. Obviously he ain't going to fix everything year one. That's not a position group where you just walk in and, suddenly everything's fixed. But at least we got a guy that I believe can fix it for us.
Yeah, I liked him at Georgia. I hated to lose him. I still don't really know. I'm a skeptic by nature. So I don't know what really happened with Matt Luke at Georgia. I don't think he just out of the blue decided to retire. I don't know if there was something going on there that he didn't like. I don't know if it was a personality conflict with somebody else on the staff. I don't know what it was, but I don't even know. Do you remember that? He just out of the blue, I'm retiring. And I was like, what? It was weird. And I really liked him a lot because we got extremely lucky because we had Sam Pittman as O-line coach before that.
Right.
And when he got the head job at Arkansas, I was like, man, this is bad because they don't make them much better than Sam Pittman when it comes to O-line coaches. And then we lucked out and got Matt Luke, and he picked up right where Pittman had left off. And then just like out of the blue, he was like, well, that's it for me. I'm walking away. And I'm like, what? This guy's like 45 years old. It was strange.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised to see him back in college football at all. And I'd love to find out the real story one day, but I've got no clue what actually happened there.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a story there, but Matt Luke doesn't strike me as the guy that's ever going to talk about.
No, he's not going. No.
And neither does Kirby. So we'll probably never get the real story of what happened, but obviously something went on. Like, you don't just up and retire from college football, at that age, and then a couple of years later you're back in the game. So
he's a good one though. So I mean, I agree with you. There are no miracle workers. You got to have it's the whole Jimmys and Joes versus X's and O's deal. He'll fix the X's and O's. There's no doubt about it. It may take him a year to get some different Jimmy and Joes in there. I don't know, but he'll immediately make your offensive line better. I'm confident in that.
Yeah, no, and so am I. I'm excited to see the jump that he makes this season. Again, I don't expect it to be perfect or anything like that, but I do expect, some level of improvement, especially when you're talking about a guy as experienced. And I mean, you just list off the offensive linemen that he's thrown in the NFL and the groups that he's produced at, wherever he's been a coach at. So that's definitely exciting. And I was glad that Dabo added a different voice in the room. I mean, you talk about a guy in Matt Luke and then Chris Rump. Obviously, Chris Rump spent all that time in the NFL. Matt Luke's been a college head coach. I think Clemson really needed different voices in the room that hadn't been a part of the program for 10 plus years. You know what I'm saying?
College football is even more exciting with some action on the line. And the games are even better when you're cashing in. And the Voice of College Football is the place to be to get the greatest value. Let's start with my picks. 75% against the money line, 58% against the spread. I've got a 40-year track record. In fact, in 2023, at $100 played per game, you would have netted over $9,300. And guess what? I'm just the warm-up act. Steve Merrill, our ace in the hole, show stopper from Wager Talk. 6 years with the Voice of College Football, over 30 years in the industry. Steve gives us analysis on all the big games, but you can't miss Steve's weekly under-the-radar pick, which went 21-5 against the spread the last 2 seasons. I repeat, 21-5 against the spread. You also get picks from some of our top analysts here at the Voice of College Football, including Steve Dace and Matt Zemek. Become a YouTube channel member or Patreon member for just $99 per month. Go to the main channel on YouTube, click join, and select the betting tier. Do the same thing on Patreon. Make 2024 a winner now.